In this module, we shall study about sources of recruitment. After the required number and the type of personnel required are determined, the next step is to locate the sources from where the required human resources can be identified and available for the organization. This is known as recruitment. After studying this module, we will be able to first learn about recruitment and its basic features. Secondly, identify various sources of recruitment. Thirdly, learn about advantages and disadvantages of internal recruitment. Fourthly, identify methods of external recruitment. Fifth, appreciate about recent recruitment trends. Sixth, understand the advantages and disadvantages of external recruitment. And finally, identify the objectives of good recruitment policy in the organization. We are starting with defining the term recruitment. According to Filippo, recruitment is the process of searching for the prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for jobs in the organization. Now we are going to discuss the basic features of recruitment. The basic features of recruitment are as follows. First, recruitment is the process to find people for different jobs in the organization. Secondly, human resource planning for organizing and selecting the right person for the right jobs is possible only through recruitment process, which is a linking process in between the two. Thirdly, attracting prospective candidates for different jobs in the organization is a positive process because recruitment stimulates people to apply for jobs in the organization. Thirdly, attracting prospective candidates for different jobs in the organization is a positive process because recruitment stimulates people to apply for jobs in the organization. Fourthly, to get qualified personnel in the organization, recruitment is a vital function to attain its objectives. Fifth, recruitment is a process or a series of activities rather than a single event. Sixth, it's a two-way process involving a recruiter and the prospective candidate, and both of them have a choice of their own. A recruiter has a choice to whom to recruit or not, and a candidate has a choice to apply for jobs in the organization or not. Now we are moving to the sources of recruitment. The sources of recruitment can be classified into two broad categories: the internal sources and external sources. Now we are starting with the internal sources of recruitment. Internal sources of recruitment are possible through transfers and promotion and re-employment. The internal sources of recruitment are related to those people who are already working in the organization, such as retrenched employees, retired employees, dependents of deceased employees, present employees, that consist of temporary, permanent, contractual or casual employees. Then we have methods of internal recruitment. The very first method of internal recruitment is transfers. Transfer is a shifting of an employee from one job to another having similar duties and responsibilities to discharge. It is a lateral movement of an employee within the same grade. A shift also involves a new geographical location. For example, a bank employee is transferred from one post to another or even from one branch to another. Second source of internal recruitment is promotion. Promotion is a shifting of an employee from present job to a job higher position and grades and salary, etc. It contains different duties and responsibilities, higher privileges, increased benefits, addition to various perquisites, etc. It is a vertical movement of an employee to higher level. For example, a deputy manager becoming a general manager at this vacant post. The third source of internal recruitment is re-employment of ex-employees. Ex-employees of the organization who have left the job or retired may also be recruited, maybe on a temporary or permanent basis. The next source of internal recruitment is job posting. Job posting is a method of internal recruitment where organization publishes job opening on bulletin boards, electronic media and similar outlets. Most software firms rely on the intranet and internet to inform employees about job openings. The next source of internal recruitment is job biddings. This is another source where an employee on its own applies for a posted job. They do so because they have a required qualification. In 2002, Hindustan Lever introduced its version of job postings and many posts were filled. The next source of internal recruitment is employee referrals. Employee referral is a method where through one personal contracts jobs are located. It is also known as word of mouth advertising. Existing employees of the company are encouraged to recommend the names of their friends, relatives for a possible vacancy in their near future. This method is quick, effective and usually inexpensive. A very realistic picture about the job is given to the applicant and this method tends to attain more credibility of those who recommend their friends and relatives as they will only recommend those who are qualified and motivated to do the job. Now we are going to discuss the advantages associated with internal sources of recruitment. The advantages of internal sources of recruitment are as follows. The structure of the organization is known to the employees and they can very well adjust and handle job easily. The next advantage is it increases the morale and commitment of the employees towards the organization. The next advantage associated with these internal sources that promotions assure them they will be preferred over outsiders within the organization. The next advantage associated with the internal source of recruitment is the huge cost involved in recruitment is reduced. The next is that training cost will also be less for the internal employees as they are aware of operating procedures and processes. The next advantage is employees will also be motivated to work sincerely in their jobs where they are promoted in their organization. The next advantage is that management and trade union relations remain good because unions generally prefer internal recruitment. The next but not the least, filling of higher level jobs through promotions within the organization helps to retain talented and ambitious employees. It helps in reducing labor turnover. Now we are going to discuss disadvantages associated with the internal sources of recruitment. The disadvantages associated with the internal source of recruitment are as follows. First, it discourages the new talent in the organization. Secondly, it restricts the choice in selecting the candidates to be promoted. There is limited choice. Thirdly, mobility of manpower is also restricted. Fourthly, a conflict in management may arise as to seniority and ability. It may lead to favoritism. The next, the growth of the organization is also affected by the talent of the limited people in the organization because of the entry of the fresh talent is restricted. The next disadvantage associated with this source is that all the vacancies cannot be filled with internal candidates. The next problem associated with this source is that for a new enterprise, it's not really available. And the next is out of competition from the market industry may result due to recruiting internally always. Now we are moving to understand the external sources of recruitment. When it is not possible and actually feasible to recruit candidates from within the organization, then the recruitment starts outside the organization. There are various external sources of recruitment such as press advertisements, educational institutions, employment exchange, placement agencies, recommendations, etc. We have different types of external recruitment methods. The different types are listed below. The very first is advertisements. Advertisements in newspaper, various journals, radio and television etc. is widely used as a source of recruitment for various jobs in the clerical, technical and managerial areas. It covers a large target group, millions of people throughout the country, attracts various talents who are geographically scattered. The cost per person is very low. The company has an option to disclose or not to disclose its identity by giving only a box number where a candidate can apply. There is a possibility to get large number of applications from unsuitable candidates. Paperwork also increases. A company has to waste considerable time and efforts in sorting out the applicants. The second source of external recruitment is campus recruitment, a method where candidates are recruited by visiting various colleges, educational institutions such as IITs, ITIs, IIMs, colleges, universities, etc. is called campus recruitment. The job aspirants can be recruited easily from such campuses requiring technical or professional skills. Normally, in every reputed institution, there is a placement cell where recruited companies are called to recruit the candidates on the basis of interview and the required skills. It is a kind of preliminary screening. Suitable candidates are subject to the remainder of selection process. This source is known as campus recruitment. This method attracts young and fresh graduates who are full of energy and desires to do a particular job. The third external source of recruitment is employment exchange, a source of recruitment where a government has made it compulsory for employees to fill some vacancies through the employment exchanges. It is a method to help unemployed youth, displaced persons, ex-military personnel, physically handicapped, etc. It is a data bank of the candidates where exchange helps employees to get required workers and jobs, and thus employers get right type of employees. On the basis of requisition from the organizations to employment exchanges, it intimates the concerned candidates and the requiring organizations by sending them list of candidates. Many of these organizations provide vocational guidance and job counseling to job seekers. The next external source is casual callers. When job seekers on their own initiative visit the organization and apply for employment, such people are called unsolicited aspirants or casual callers. It is an inexpensive source of recruitment, and organizations can maintain a separate folder for such applicants and call them whenever the need arises. The next external source of recruitment is labor contractors. It is a source of recruitment in construction jobs. Workers are recruited through labor contractors who themselves are employees in the organization. The disadvantage of this is that when the contractor leaves the organization, the workers employed through him will also leave. Recruitment by this way is banned in public sector units in India, but prevalent in case of private sector construction industry. The next external source of recruitment is placement agencies. Recruitment through placement agencies is a professional way of hiring talented people at executives level. These agencies charge fees. They are specialized in supply of particular category of employees such as trained computer professionals. These agencies perform all the functions related to recruitment and selection, and as a result there is less burden on companies in terms of cost and time involved. Because organizing a recruiting and selecting process for candidates in the organization calls for a high cost, therefore contacting with placement agencies is a good choice. They charge a high cost of recruitment. The next source of external recruitment is the management consultants. These are the search firms that maintain a list or database of qualified personnel for top and middle level in the organization. Firms like KPMG, Arthur Anderson, Noble and Hewitt, ABC Consultants, Montec Consultants, etc. offer specialized employment related services to corporate houses after charging a fee. They have a large network with the help of which it is possible to approach qualified currently employed candidates who are not actively looking to the job profile in the organization, or the workers who want to change the jobs. They charge very high fees for recruiting and selecting a candidate for the organization. The next source of external recruitment is gate recruitment. It is recruitment related to unskilled workers at a factory gate. These workers are known as badli workers or substitute workers. A worker is recruited for a temporary period because they are employed in case of permanent worker is absent. A company may put the notice on the notice board of the company specifying the details of the job and job vacancies. It is also known as the direct recruitment involving low cost as compared to high cost involved in giving advertisements. The last but not the least source of external recruitment is telecasting. This way of recruitment is by way of telecasting channels. There are special programs such as Job Watch, Youth Pulse, Employment News, etc. over the television that has become popular and gained importance in the recent years for recruiting candidates. It provides full information as to profile of the organization and details about vacancy created in the organization. It is an expensive method and for a short time period and come only once. So all those missing televisions due to any reason may not be able to get the telecasted information again. Now we are moving on to the recent recruitment trends. In today's time, the recent recruitment trend include outsourcing, raiding and e-recruitment. We are starting with outsourcing. Outsourcing is a very popular method of recruiting candidates. Through outsourcing firms, it helps the organization in finding employees by managing initial screening of the candidates as per the requirement of the organization. The final selection would be done by the organization itself. Thus, they create a pool of candidates out of which it is possible for the organization to select the best fit employee for the organization. These outsourcing firms take fees for providing their services from the organization. The benefits of outsourcing are value creation, flexibility, company is free from all hassles involved in initial screening and selecting a candidate involving huge time as well as cost. Planning for human resources in the organization becomes much easier or may not involve a lengthy process of human resource planning. The organizations are free from fixing salary and other negotiations that might be involved in selecting a candidate. The second trend is poaching or raiding. Poaching is a way of employing a competent and experienced person in the organization who is already working with the reputed company from the same industry. That may be a competitor. It is done by providing him an attractive salary and high pay packages and perquisites on other terms and conditions. By this way, it is easier for the organization to buy talent rather than developing the talent in the organization. This is not a good practice in reality. Third recent trend in the field of recruitment is the e-recruitment. E-recruitment is an electronic way of recruiting a candidate, that is by using World Wide Web through internet. Candidates post their resumes to various job sites on the basis of recruitment. There are various sites where a prospective candidate can upload their CVs and they get a mail or call for an interview whenever the job exists. By doing this, a big pool of candidates is created and many organizations contact these job sites for recruiting the desired candidates for their transitions. The various benefits of recruitment are low cost as compared to advertisements in newspaper. There are no intermediaries. Access to website is possible anytime, anywhere by anyone. Improved efficiency which facilitates the recruitment of right type of people with the required skills. Now we are moving to discuss the advantages of external sources of recruitment. The advantages involved in the external sources of recruitment are as follows: that it attracts a large pool of applicants. The next, new talent is attracted into the organization. The next, it is easy to get a right person for the right job. The next, source of motivation for the current employee to work hard for getting a promotional rise. The next, brings new, fresh and brilliant ideas through young blood entering into the organization. The next, to stay in a competition, it has become a need to look for fresh outlook towards the industry, which is possible by recruiting the candidates externally. The next advantage associated with this source is that when suitable candidates are not available within the organization and companies are expanding their areas by diversifying and merger with other organizations, it is must that the recruitment should be done externally. The next, today's global business requirement also calls for recruiting candidates externally. The next, hiring an external candidate may also open up many opportunities to find experienced and highly qualified and skilled candidates who will help a company to meet its diversity requirements. The next advantage associated with this source is that to be successful in competition, an outsider's view and trends are important and must be known to the organization. Hiring candidates externally serves this purpose of the organization. The next advantage associated with this source is that it is possible to see the target, competitors, and the key players to stay in the competition and to survive. One cannot always work with internal recruited candidates as it is impossible to do so. The way of doing things are changing, technology is daily upgrading, business and their branches have expanded globally, multicultural environment at workplace due to workforce diversity is an example of this. Now we move on to the disadvantage associated with the external sources of recruitment. There are few disadvantages associated with this source, like it is expensive and more time consuming to recruit people from the outside. The next, training is required for the new candidate who are not familiar with the organization and they may call for huge cost. The thirdly, it may affect the current employees as they may not feel motivated to work hard for the promotion. The fourthly, current employees may feel that it might affect their promotion in near future and their morale gets low. The fifthly, it may happen that the ideas of the new employees may have conflict with the presently working employees and dispute may arise. Now we are going to understand the objectives of good recruitment policy. The objectives of a good recruitment policies can be discussed like this. The first, a recruitment policy should always be directed towards achieving the main goal of the organization. The next is the candidates to be recruited are the ultimate manpower to accomplish organizational goals. So their selection has to be done very carefully. The next, before launching any method of recruitment, it is very important to identify the number and the type of personnel required. That is, human resource planning has to be done systematically, keeping in mind the various departmental needs. That requirement for skilled, semi-skilled and unskilled person has to be categorized. If the need for managerial executives, then the type of qualification and experience required is to be seen beforehand. The next prerequisite while defining a good recruitment policy is that the source has to be decided, whether internal or external. It depends upon the recruitment policy and the requirement of the organization. The next is that recruitment policy must meet the desired criteria, if any. For example, in case of government jobs, the criteria as to caste, reservations must be taken into consideration. The next prerequisite while designing a recruitment policy is that cost should be considered very precisely, because cost is a very important factor in framing a recruitment policy. If recruitment is through newspaper, high cost is involved as compared to cost involved in case of recruitment through websites, employment exchanges, etc. Proper assessment of this cost has to be done before making that process a part of the policy. Now we are going to make a summary of what we have discussed so far. The very first, we have discussed that the required number and type of personnel once determined, the next step is to locate the sources from where the required human resources can be identified and available in the organization. This procedure is known as recruitment. Recruitment is the process of searching for the prospective employees and stimulating them to apply for the jobs in the organization. Then we have discussed that recruitment is a process or a series of activities rather than a single event. Then we have discussed that internal sources of recruitment are possible through transfers and promotions and re-employment. Transfer is a shifting of an employee from one job to another having similar duties and responsibility to discharge. Promotion is shifting of an employee from present job to a job having a higher position, grade, salary, different duties, responsibilities, higher privileges, increased benefits and addition to various perquisites and greater potential. For recruitment, the ex-employees can also be considered. Ex-employees of the organization who have left the job or retired may also be recruited. This is a very strong source of the internal source of recruitment. They can be recruited on a temporary or a permanent basis. Job bidding is a method of internal sources of recruitment where an employee on its own applies for a prospective job or a posted job. Job posting is a method of internal recruitment where organization publishes job openings on bulletin boards, electronic media and similar outlets. Employee referral is a method where through one personal contract jobs are located. Recruitment from outside the organization is called external sources of recruitment. There are various external sources of recruitment such as press advertisements, educational institutions, employment exchange, placement agencies, recommendations, etc. Campus recruitment is a method where candidates are recruited by visiting various colleges and institutions. When job seekers on their own initiative visit the organization and apply for employment, such people are called as unsolicited applicants or casual callers. Then next we have discussed gate recruitment. Gate recruitment is a recruitment related to unskilled workers at a factory gate. Then we have discussed trends in the process of recruitment. In this we have outsourcing, poaching and e-recruitment. Outsourcing is a very popular method of recruiting candidates through outsourcing firms who help the organization in finding employees by managing initial screening of the candidates as per the requirement of the organization. Poaching is a way of employing a competent and experienced person in the organization who is already working with other reputed company from the same industry that may be a competitor. E-recruitment is an electronic way of recruiting a candidate, that is by using World Wide Web through internet. Candidates post their resumes to various job sites on the basis of requirement needs.